Hi, welcome to HackTheFile. I'm Michael Lopez, and on today's episode, we're going to do the next video in the um, Kali Linux for Beginners book. Enjoy. So, like I said, my channel got another strike. So first I got a warning, now I got a strike. So I'm gonna have to tone it down a little bit and do some, videos that I know I won't get trouble for. Like we'll do some Linux for hackers, and maybe some other videos. I bought a couple more books that I'm excited about that I think that would be awesome to learn if you're getting into cybersecurity or hacking or anything like that. So I'm excited about starting this new series um, on Python networking. So here's a book that I got. Then I want to do a networking Bible book, but Python networking 101. This book looks amazing, and it's all on Windows, so it's not on Linux, which I think it's not. But I was going through this and looking through it, and I think it's not even on a VM. I think it's just going to be on Linux. On Windows, just in a Python environment. So that'll be awesome. And this actually teaches you Python from the start. See, syntax and data structures, variables, arithmetic operators, string formatting. This is something that I have to go through for real because I have a problem with their gapping. So we're gonna go through this, and it goes to the OSI model and stuff. I think it'll be interesting. So I'm gonna make a series on this. I think it's very important, especially in Python. But and then I might do this one. I guess I'm um, gonna be doing something with subnetting here soon. Can't tell you what it is, but bought this book just to go through this and see if I can learn a little bit about that. But that's another topic. Go back to Linux Basic for hackers. So on this channel, if I am missing a video, so if I have like video one, chapter one and two, chapter two, but I'm missing chapter three or something, that's because for some reason they took it down. So, like for example, on my last video, I made an ethical hacking video 27, and It's getting into really gray or muddy waters, and they took it down. So I'm either gonna have to redo that video or just skip it because YouTube don't play. And I was sure I did chapter 2 on this. And if I don't have it, they took it down. So we're gonna go to chapter 3. If not, I'll go back and make it. I don't know. YouTube is irritating me because I'm spending all this time doing this stuff, and this is what YouTube is doing to me. So it's pretty whack. Can't stand it. Alright, let's get started. Linux Basic for Hackers. Chapter 3, Analyzing and Managing Networks. Understanding networking is crucial for any aspiring hacker. In many situations, you'll be hacking something over a network. A good hacker needs to know how to connect to a network with that network. For example, you may need to connect to a computer with your internet protocol.
Sorry, something went wrong.
Shut up. IP address hidden from view. Or you may need to redirect a target's domain name system, DNS, queries to your system. These kind of tasks are relatively simple but require a little Linux network know-how. This chapter shows you some essential Linux tools for analyzing and managing networks during the network hacking adventure. Analyzing networks with ifconfig. The ifconfig command is one of the most basic tools for examining and interacting with active network interfaces. You can use it to query your active network connections by simply entering ifconfig in the terminal. Try it yourself, and then you should see output similar to listen. Okay, so ifconfig. Remember, ifconfig, if config is how I see it, is Linux. Ipconfig is um, uh, Windows. So let's go ahead and put ifconfig. I mean, you might as well, right? It says to do it in the book, so let's run that. So we're going to come over here and we're going to run a terminal or an ifconfig. And I can't type today. Nice. There you go. Let's see what that. As you can see, the command ifconfig shows some useful information about the active network interfaces on the system. At the top of the output is the name of the first detected interface, Etho1. So here's Etho1. Which is short for Ethernet 0. Did I say Etho1? Oh, because there's a 1 right here. I'm sorry. ETH0, which is short for Ethernet 0. Linux starts counting at 0 rather than 1. And that's something important to remember. In programming, it does the same thing when you're programming. This is the first wired network connection. If there were more wired Ethernet interfaces, they will show up in the output using the same format: ETH1, ETH2, and so on. The type of network being used, Ethernet, is listed next, followed by HWADDR and an address. This is the globally unique address stamped on each piece of network hardware. In this case, the network interface card, NIC, usually referred to as the media access control MAC address, and not Mac like Macintosh. The second line contains information on the IP address currently assigned to the network's interface. In this case, that, or mine is different. The BCAS 3, or broadcast address, which is the address used to send out information to all IPs on the subnet. Hold on. The BCAS. Let's see where that's at. Oh, yeah. Which is the address used to send out all information to all IPs on the subnet. And finally, the network mask, net mask, which is used to determine what part of the IP address is connected to the local network. You'll also find more technical information in this section of the output, but it's beyond the scope of Linux Networking Basics chapter. The next section of the output shows another network connection called the LO, which is short for loopback address, and is sometimes called the local host. And there's your local host address. This is a special software address that connects you to your own system. Software and service not running on your system can't use it. You would use the LO to test something on your system, such as your own web server. The local host is generally represented with the IP address 127.0.0.1. The third connection is the interface WLN0. This appears only if you have a wireless interface or an adapter, as I do here. Let's see what's going on with mine. And got that. Here in it. Where's my net mass? Note that it also displays the MAC address of the device, HWADDR. Broadcast 11255. All right. Checking wireless network devices with IW config. If you have an external USB, you can use the IW config command to gather crucial information for wireless hacking, such as the adapter's IP address, its MAC address, what mode it's in, and more. The information you can glean from this command is particularly important when you're using wireless hacking tools like air cracking. Using the terminal, let's take a look at some wireless devices with IW config, and I don't think IW config is going to work. Mine IW config. Yeah, I don't have nothing. Using IW config to get information on wireless adapters. No. The output here tells us the only network interface with wireless extensions is WLNO, which is what we would expect. Neither LO nor ETH0 has any wireless extensions. For WLAN0, we learned what AO 2.11 IEEE wireless standards are devices capable of being. And G, two early wireless communication standards. Most wireless devices now include N as well as N in the latest standards. Now, don't let all this confuse you. If you're just learning all this stuff and you're going through it, a lot of stuff's going to be confusing, but don't fixate on all that stuff. You're going to have to go. My rule of thumb is if you don't know what something is, Google it and get an idea of what it is, and then go study it somewhere in a book or something. So, what I would do here is if you're listening and reading, you're going, what is it talking about? What is 802.11 IEE wireless standards? Well, copy and paste that. Take or pause the video and go to your Google and put that in there, and then it'll give you an idea of that. Then you take that idea and then you say, "Oh, okay," and then it usually Google will show you like the different standards and B and G. These are all just different standards, and these ones are older, right? And I think I don't know, I can't remember, but I know that there's a modern standard that we're using now. Yeah, see, and it says right here, most wireless devices now include an N as well. So N is the latest standard. So N is the latest standard on this, right? And what it is it's the wireless capabilities, right? How it's working is what it is. So 802.11 is the standard, and then they change these B and G to how it functions differently, I guess, right, or something like that. So just Google stuff, and if you want to go deeper into it, and you feel you need to go deeper into that, and you want to actually learn more into it, then buy a book and go searching for a book on wireless standards or something like that, right? All right. We also learned from IWconfig the mode of the wireless extension. In this case, mode managed. In contrast to monitor our promiscuous mode. We need promiscuous mode for cracking wireless passwords. I swear I did this chapter already. Yeah, I swear I did this already. Anyways, next we can see that the wireless adapter is not connected, not associated to an access point AP, and that the power is 20 dBm, which represents the strength of the signal. We'll spend more time with this information in chapter 14. Changing your network information. Being able to change your IP address and other network information is a useful skill because it will help you access other networks while appearing as a trusted device on those networks. For example, in a denial of service attack, DOS attack, you can spoof your IP address so that the attacks appear to come from another source. We already did that, thus helping you evade IP capture during forensic analysis. This is a relatively simple task in Linux, but it's done with the ifconfig command. Changing your IP address. To change your IP address, enter ifconfig followed by the interface you want to reassign and the new IP address you want to assign to the interface. For example, to assign IP address 192.168.189.15115 to the interface eth0, you would enter the following: ifconfig eth0 and then the new. When you do this correctly, Linux will simply return the command prompt and say nothing. This is a good thing. Then, when you again check your network connections, ifconfig, you'll see that your IP address has changed to the IP address you assign. So let's do that, and then let's do that. Let's see what happens. I've never done that before. Changed my IP address. So let's go here. ifconfig eth. Let's do. Let's, let's put the same one. Let's just change it to 7. Right? I don't know why I did that, but it's not permitted. So let's do. What was that? Command line kung fu? Is it like that? Or is it just the. Like that? Hmm. Oh no, it's sudo. There. Bam, there you go. Command line kung fu in action. I think it worked. Man, you see how I did that command line kung fu? I remembered. Love that command line kung fu. And if you don't know what that is, you need to go look at my video, Command Line Kung Fu. What am I doing now? Oh, okay, so now we're doing if config, and it did. It changed my IP address to that. Man, that's freaking awesome. I'm loving that. I am loving it, loving it, loving it. That's some covert hacker stuff. Oh man, it all starts from somewhere. He keeps texting me. I'm gonna make this video a really quick video. I don't want to make this a really long video. We're just gonna stop at like 30 minutes. Just just to get your taste buds going. Run a couple of things. Changing your network mask and broadcast address. You can also change your network mask, netmask, and broadcast address with the ifconfig command. For instance, if you want to assign that same eth0 internet with a net mask of 255.255.0.0 and a broadcast address of 192.168.1.255, you would enter the following: ifconfig eth0. Here's that one. Net mask broadcast. So you get the gist of it, right? You just put the what you want to change and how you want to change it to. And once again, if you've done everything correctly, Linux responds with a new command prompt. Now enter ifconfig again, to verify that each of these has been changed accordingly. So let's just do that. So we're gonna change it just slightly, right? Actually, let me move this over here and see what it's wanting me to do. So if config. We're gonna change it back to the original. Let me see what my net mask is. Okay, we can do that. And then their broadcast one. That's the same broadcast, so that's fine. Let's change it to 256. Let's see if that'll work. I bet you it won't. Unknown host, yeah. So sudo command line kung fu. Yeah, I knew that was gonna do that. It has to be 155, but we can go here. Change that to 2. There you go. Command line kung fu. I love command line kung fu, man. See, and it's just so you just remember how to use it once you try to use it a lot. All right, so that's changed back to the original. This is changed. The net mask is changed, and that's changed. We put a 2 instead of a 1 right there. So yeah, it's awesome. That's some ninja covert stuff. When you all right, let's go back over here. Yeah, we got about 2 more minutes, and I gotta wrap this up. Just a little taste. Stuff you gotta practice. Like I said, you should. If you don't know what the command line kung fu was, go look up my video, command line kung fu, and then you'll go, oh. And I gotta go through some more of that command line kung fu stuff too. But for now, that the pseudo one is working. I use it a lot. Okay, okay, we already did that one. Okay, spoofing your MAC address. You can also use ifconfig to change your MAC address or HWADDR. The MAC address is a globally unique and is often used as a security measure, to keep hackers out of their network or to trace them. Changing your MAC address to spoof different MAC addresses is almost trivial and neuralizes those security measures. Thus, it is a very useful technique for bypassing network access control. My gosh. To spoof your MAC address, simply use the ifconfig command down option to take down the interface, etho in this case. Then enter in the ifconfig command followed by the interface name, HW hardware, ether for Ethernet, and the new spoofed MAC address. Finally, bring the internet back up interface back up with the up option, and the change will take place. Man. All right, let's run that sucker real quick. We might have enough time. I'll make this video after this. Man, let me see how much more we got in here. How long is this chapter? This chapter's not that long. Let's just finish the chapter up. It's not long. This one seems pretty fun too, so let's go ahead and do that. All right, so let's pull up. I'm gonna move this over so I can get down with the sickness. All right. All right, let's spoof our MAC address now. Takes that down, huh? Oh man, we're using Kung Fu all day. Pseudo. Oh, come on now. Pseudo Kung Fu. Now we'll do F config. So now that we have it down, let's go ahead and do that. Where's my num block? We'll change that MAC address. Now, what is my MAC address up here? Here's mine right here. So let's just go ahead and change that to something way out. All right, that's fine. And it's gonna say the same thing, not permitted. So we're gonna do the sudo kung fu. It's okay. The more I practice that sudo kung fu, the more that I'm gonna use it. Right? You know, you if you don't practice your kung fu, you forget it. Remember that, folks. Remember that, boys and girls. All right. So the next one is now let's bring it back up. Etho up. And I was gonna say the same thing. Sudo command line kung fu. All right. Now it says check your settings. You should see that everything has changed. Now let's go to HackTheFile. My MAC address didn't change. Why did I lie? Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, it did. Ether. I thought this was the Mac. What Mac is that? What's the last one on that? Is this? Oh no, here's the Mac right here. I'm sorry. That is the Mac. 70 at 5. This is oh man, I've been disconnected. Oh, it's because I disconnected it. That's why. Did I put that back up? It's 0 up. Alright, anyways. So that obviously changed down here where I mean it should. That's where the MAC address is. Um what else did I change? I changed the um whatever that is. Did I change that too? Oh, I just changed the Mac. So I shut down the and then I put it back up. Okay. So let's try to reconnect to a different but I don't think it is because it's in a little private network in it. I don't know. This is oh yeah, this is off a different book. So yeah, this is on a little private network, so I don't think that's gonna go back up. Has to have the right MAC address. I don't know, maybe not. All right, let's go. We don't need the internet right now, anyways. I should, so don't worry about it. All right, let's see. We already did that. Spooky reading MAC address. So these steps here, um, I'm not gonna write down. This is something that I feel that you need to practice on your own more and more and more and more, and then you'll be really good at it. because I can write down the steps of this. I mean, but it's common sense, right? You're entering in your. The hardest thing to remember on this is remembering that you have to take it down first, and then you can, on this, I guess, command, and then you need to know a little bit about MAC addresses. So, I'm not going to go into any of this stuff. You know, for now, if I wanted to spoof my IP address, I know that enter in. I know to look up what the Ethernet zero is, and then I could change it. So I have config etho zero whatever or whatever network they're on. IW config is the wireless. You know, that's how you're gonna remember this stuff. I'm not gonna write down steps in my my tech box or anything like that, or that's fine. But if I was doing like a step by step on how to write a Trojan or something, I would. Okay, assigning new IP addresses from the DHCP server. Linux has a dynamic host configuration protocol (DHCP) server that runs a daemon A process that runs in the background called DHCP or the DHCP daemon. Daemon? The DHCP server assigns IP addresses to all the systems in the subnet and assigns all IP addresses to all the systems. Yeah, okay. And keeps the log files of which IP addresses is allocated to which machine at one time, at any one time. This makes a great resource for forensic analysis to trace hackers, which, after an attack, for that reason, it is useful to understand how the DHCP server works. Usually, to connect the internet from the LAN, you must have a DHCP assigned IP address. Therefore, after setting a static IP address, you must return and get a new DHCP assigned IP address. To do this, you can always reboot your system, but I'll show you how to retrieve a new DHCP without having to shut your system down or restart it. Oh, nice. To request an IP address from the DHCP, simply call the DHCP server with the command DH client, followed by the interface you want to address assigned to. Different Linux distributions use different DHCP clients, but Kali is built on Debian, which uses DH client. Therefore, you can assign a new address like this: Kali DH client eth0. The DH client command sends a DHCP discovery request from the network interface specified here, eth0. It then receives an DHCP offer from the DHCP server, in this case, and confirms IP assignment to the DHCP server with the DHCP request. Depending on the configuration of the DHCP server, the IP address assigned in each might be different. Now, when you enter config, you should see that the DHCP server has assigned a new IP address, a new broadcast, and new everything. Okay, so if DH client is what we're running. Yep. Oh. Is that what I was supposed to do? DH client, it, DH client, ETH0. Yeah, it's looking like that worked. Where the heck is the IP? Eat zero flag. Broadcast running multicast. It's 6F. Can't assign it an IP address. Let me look to see what's going on here. So it's not assigning an IP address now? Does it take a minute? Because I have this all in that network running to my firewall. So now can't connect to it, can't see it. Let me restart my firewall and see if that helps. I'm gonna disconnect that for a minute. Or did that just take a minute? Yeah. Boom. All right, let's see what happened. Huh. There's my IP address now and my net mask, my broadcast. I just basically gave it a IP address. Did I ever put that running back up? I don't know. Anyways, that's how it works sometimes. Um, I think I broke it when I did all this stuff. Depending on the configuration of the DHCP server, the IP address assigned in each case might be different. Now, when you enter HackTheFile, you see that the DHCP server has assigned a new IP address, a new broadcast. Okay, so now let's run that and see if it changes it because I broke it. It might take a minute. DH client. DH client. Hmm. I'll let that run for a little bit. Manipulating the domain name system. Hackers can find treasure trove of information on a target in its domain name system, DNS. DNS is a critical component of the internet, and although it's designed to translate domain names to IP addresses, the hacker can use it to garner information on the target. Examining DNS with Dig. DNS is a service that translates domain names like hackers.com to the appropriate IP address. That way, your system knows how to get to it. Without DNS, we would have to remember thousands of IP addresses of our favorite websites. One of the most useful commands for the aspiring hacker is dig, which offers a way to gather DNS information about the target domain. I swear I've done this chapter before. They must have took it off. This information could include IP addresses of the target's name server, the server that translates the target's name to an IP address. Dig hackerize.com. Add the NS option short name server. Dig hackersarize.com NS. Oh yeah, it just takes a minute. It changed nothing. That's all right. We'll skip that one. Let's use dig. dighackersarise.com. So NS. Am I connected right now? Huh. I'm gonna have to restart everything. That actually broke it. All right. I had to just restart the um, network, restart my VM. The I have this on a different on a little network where I'm changing all that stuff. It's gonna mess with everything and the connection. So I just restarted to run this connection. But as you can see, the dig worked. Um, Gave me the when it pulled the header. Um, hackersarise.com. Give me a bunch of. Give me the server IP. So let's go ahead and see what it wants. Okay, that looks the same. Also note in the additional section that this dig query reveals the IP address of the DNS server serving that hackersarise.com. Let's go to here, hackersarise. Oh, I already have this saved. This is a great website. This section may look slightly different on your system or may not show at all. You can also use the dig command to get information on email servers connected to the domain by adding the MX option, short for mail exchange server. This information is critical for attacks on email services. For example, info on the e- email server is shown in the authority section. List dig MX. Let's do that one. Yeah, google.com. Okay. Changing your DNS server. In some cases, you might want to use another DNS server. To do so, you'll edit a plain text file named etc resolve um, conf on the system. Open the file in the text editor. I'm using LeafPad. Then, on your command line, enter the precise name of the editor, followed by the location of the file and the file name. For example, LeafPad stc conf. We'll open the resolve conf file in the etc directory in my specified graphical text editor, LeafPad. This should look something like this. Domain, local domain, search local domain name server. As you can see on line 3, my server is set to local DNS server, blah blah blah. That works fine, but if I want to replace the DNS server with, let's say, Google's public DNS server, I could place the following line. Huh. Then I would just need to save the file. However, you can also achieve the same results exclusively from the command line by entering the following: echo name server. You see, yeah. This command echoes the string name server, blah 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 blah. Yes. If you open the etc resolve file now, you should see that the point of the DNS request was rather. All right, that's pretty cool. I'm not gonna do that though because I don't want to mess with everything. But that's pretty cool. We can, you just make you can manipulate the config file. Um, the config file to use a different server, and then in your imagination, like I said, you can use the find out what the public Google's public server is and put it to there. There you go. If you're using DHCP address and DHCP server provides a DNS setting, the DHCP server will replace the contents of the file, renew the news DHCP address. Okay, yeah, we're like mapping your own IP addresses. A specific file on your system called the host file also performs domain name address translation. The host file is located here, etc hosts, and it kind of as with DNS, you can use to specify your own address. Blah blah blah. So yeah, it's just doing the same thing. You're just manipulating the file, the host file. Might be used to make America. This might be used. You can map it to makeamerica.com. Make certain you press tab between the IP address and the domain key, not the space bar. So boom, tab, boom, tab. I'm not gonna mess with any of these config files because I don't want to do it. As you get more involved in hacking endeavors, you'll learn about tools like DNS spoof, eater cap. You'll be able to use the host file to direct any traffic on your LAN to visit makeofamerica.com. Now this stuff is pretty cool. Um, Pretty easy, right? Okay. Because you can so like I was saying, you can have them go to a different website. Anyways, let's just move on. Summary: any hacker needs some basic Linux networking skills to connect, analyze, and manage networks. As you progress, these skills will become more and more useful for doing reconnaissance, spoofing, and connecting to target systems. Now, if you want to pause it, you can do the exercises. I don't. We just did them. See, this is all what we just did. Add Google's DNS server, blah blah. But you can pause it there too and do those. It's basically everything we did. So next time, the next video, we're gonna do chapter 4. So that was, you know, hopefully they don't delete this one. I don't know why they must have deleted this because I do remember doing this, and that's just weird. So I'm gonna name it this. Let's see if they what they do, but that's just ridiculous. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I mean, it wasn't too short. I was trying to make it under 30 minutes, but we always run into some problems or something. Um, I hope you learned something, and I'll see you on the next Hack the File. Have fun.